sister moon. I seldom see you, seldom hear your tune. Preoccupied with selfish misery.
Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, reporting from the middle of nowhere. It's the second day of my St. Francis of Assisi Camino, and I'm climbing up to Paso de la Consuma for short. It's a climb of 1,000 meters. I don't do climbs very well. I'm not designed for. And I've been climbing all day. I don't know what time it is actually now. I'm guessing mid to late afternoon. But I'm not that far away, and I've just done the worst part. So started off in Pontassieve and walked through the town. Really quite pretty actually. Beautiful river and a bridge over the river, and the old town, which was like an old fortress. That was really nice. And then took this little lane and climbed up, and it was idyllic. I mean, it was what you would imagine Tuscany to be. There was vineyards on either side. There was a castle in the distance that apparently is now a vineyard, and just glorious. Just absolutely gorgeous stone cottages and farms, and every so often beautiful little shrines to the Virgin Mary. And it was just fantastic. It was wonderful. And I climbed all the way up to... Wait a second, I can't remember the name of the place. To Diaceto, which is basically the only settlement of any size on today's route. And when I got there, I did a little bit of shopping and bought some provisions, and then went into a nice little restaurant or bar or whatever it was, and had a cheesecake and a coffee, and that was very nice. And what was good is, although I'd only covered about 6-7 kilometers, I climbed the first 500 meters of the 1,000, and I'd done it with only one significant break, which I thought was pretty good. It was steady climbing all the way. It was tough, but I had the power from the morning, and also, it was on the road. It just wasn't too steep. Then there was a 4-kilometer walk through gorgeous wooded countryside to a place called Ferrano. And that was a small village. There was a nice church dedicated to St. Peter that was shut. And there was no shop there, so I didn't really stop except to pause by the church. What I did do, though, and this is something I've started to do on this trip, is every time I see a roadside shrine to Our Lady, I actually stop and either say the Hail Mary or Hail to thee, O Queen of Heaven. And I find it's a really nice way of kind of giving the journey a sacred feel, and I love these little shrines. I'm taking a photo of every one, and I hope to kind of create an album of them. But they're so, I don't know, they're so nice. It's the feminine side of God, and also they're obviously this like leftover from goddess worship, which was going on here in Roman times. I think that's incredible. So yeah, there we are. So anyway, after Ferrano, there was about another kilometre on the road, and then it went into the forest, and it got steep. And literally after less than a kilometre, I stopped and had my lunch, which I'd bought before. And then it was stop, start. I mean, it was so steep. I got to the point where I was like, counting 100 steps and then stopping for a breather. Count 100 steps, stop for a breather. Through this winding forest. If I hadn't been so absolutely shattered, it would have been nice, but it wasn't. It was horrible. But I'm out of it now, and I'm on something vaguely resembling a road. And there's still a distance to go, probably 5 or 6 kilometers, but The tough bit I'm hoping is done. I think the distance and the fatigue from before kick in, so I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but I'm not that far from Consuma. So there we are. From the absolutely gorgeous Tuscan countryside, feeling a sense of achievement. This is Uncle Travelling Matt. Keep travelling. Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, and it's the beginning of my third day of the Camino of St. Francis of Assisi, but I'm actually just going to talk to you about the rest of the second day. So, when I last spoke to you, I was in the forest after having conquered the worst climb, and it was quite easy after that, probably about 5 kilometres, a little bit through forest paths, and then on the road into Consuma. It felt like longer because Consuma is one of those long villages, and where I wanted to be was the other end. Anyway, I got there. My accommodation was called the Hospital de San Domenico, and it's an old priest's house. And the guy that ran it, really, really nice guy, really friendly guy, amazing English. He'd actually studied on a summer camp in Birmingham University about 20 odd years ago. And so we had a little chat about that. And then I, went to chill out. It was interesting, like I only kind of lay down for half an hour. So I was a lot better than I was the day before. And then I had an evening meal there. It was excellent food, and there were 3 other pilgrims in the hotel. 2 Austrians, although one lived in Germany, and 1 German. So the German was called Igor, and he was from Bavaria. And then there was Brigitte and Christina, and they were, I would say, probably in their 50s, maybe 60s. I don't know. Yeah, they were walking to Rome. So so there are other pilgrims on this road, though not many. And it does apparently seem to be popular with, according to my host last night, he said I'm the first Englishman they've had, like, in a long time. And it's quite popular with Germans and Austrians because of the guidebook that was published there, and apparently it was a German and Austrian that developed it. So there we are. It's should be an easy day today. It's downhill, but then sometimes downhill can be really hard because I got a problem with one of my feet, like a bit of an ingrowing toenail, and that can be really painful going downhill, but we'll see what happens. I didn't sleep really well last night. I was woken up by the aches and pains, and I had quite chaotic dreams, which I normally get when I'm ill, but I think it's also extreme fatigue as well does that to you. So let's see, but you know what, it's about 16.5k today, but for me it's about 18.5 because I've actually booked accommodation in the next village along. But if worse comes to worse, when I get to Steer, which is the end, if they're not too expensive, I might just get an Uber down there, because that's not on the road anyway, so it's not like I'm missing out any of the route. We shall see. So today I'm quite looking forward to tomorrow. So I'll talk about that later. And it's Uncle Travelling Matt from the very top of the Paso de la Consuma, in a little cafe, having breakfast, saying, keep travelling.
Brother sun and sister moon, I now do see you, I can hear your tune, so much in love with all that I